Well, Matt, you stopped streaming Fortnite. You're not playing it anymore. And Epic lays off 1,000 employees. Thanks to your lack of interest. Why did you not support this game? Do you remember when we used to
I
play
bought all the
Fortnite?
skins, and there's no more skins to get, so I just moved on.
You spent all those V-Bucks.
Yeah,
Those increasingly
they increased
pricey
the price, and I was like,
V-Bucks.
"That's too much now. I gotta leave."
Is this the decline of Fortnite? Like it's no. You think
No, I
Fortnite's
don't
here
think
to
so.
stay?
I think it'll still do fine.
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
think it's been in decline for a while now. Most games don't stay at their peak forever. They slowly dissipate, and that's probably what's going on with Fortnite. If I had to guess.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants the forever game, but how many forever games are actually forever, right? Like, I feel like, I mean, you could call games like World of Warcraft a forever game, but they've
Yeah,
declined massively from their peak. I mean, you could
right.
even say EverQuest is a forever game in the sense that there's still people playing it, but it's not what it used to be. So maybe Fortnite is a forever game, but we're just seeing that slow tapering because it's not the hot
Yeah,
stuff anymore.
exactly.
Yeah. But the headlines last week were Epic laying off 1,000 employees, which is big news because Epic's huge.
I mean, it's also 1,000 people, which is a lot of people.
I know. I wonder what that is in comparison to like everybody who's working on, say, their teams. Like, is that 1%? Like, how much? I didn't see what
I think it's more
percentage
than
of the
that.
company was. Yeah, it's got to be more than that. But
Yeah, I think
um,
I think it was a hefty amount. It's a pretty big hit.
yeah. I will say I didn't like all the hate that I was seeing being thrown Tim's way. I was seeing some crazy stories pop up about it where they're like, this guy had cancer and he got fired or whatever, and now he doesn't have health care, and stuff like that. Just kind of like wild headlines and stuff. And
Well, I think that did happen, and then Tim Sweeney responded that we're going to take care of him and everything. It's like, yeah.
yeah.
Usually, the people that are responsible for laying people off are there's disassociated enough from the actual people
Yeah.
that they don't know their circumstances, and so yeah, I mean, it does happen, and it's good that they're trying to rectify it. And yeah, it probably would never have happened if there wasn't headlines about it, but that's why there's headlines about it, so that people, and so it's good that they're doing it.
Yeah, I'm glad that Epic took that approach. Also, they've put together a whole list. So basically, like Tim tweeted out or posted out or wherever he put it out that basically these really high end devs were going to be on the market and to like gobble them up if you needed like top tier devs.
Yeah,
I
mean,
hope that those people can land on their feet. I
Yeah.
mean, it sucks. All we're doing is talking about AAA laying off people. I feel like every single week
all the time. Yeah.
it's some major company. And it finally got around to Epic. Epic must have done a layoff at some point before this, but I guess people were just not expecting to see it there as quickly because of Fortnite money, right? Because we're used to Fortnite money just being.
Well, they were kind of bragging about it too, with like all the
Yeah.
there are a lot of lawsuits and like we're making so much money we could fight this forever. It's like, well, are you? I mean, I'm sure you're making a lot of money, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So Tim cited also when he was sort of defending the state of the company that they're spending a lot of money on these legal battles, winning legal battles for gamers and developers everywhere.
Yeah.
So like basically Epic's paying the bill so that everybody can win, not just Epic.
Right.
Which I think kind of started around back when they butted heads with Apple on the iOS store in Fortnite because Apple wanted to take 30% cut of all the microtransaction sales, and Epic was like,
Right.
this is anti-competitive and all that stuff. And so they went to court and they actually won against Apple on that. And they've been doing, I think they did similar things with Google, and they've been fighting other legal battles and stuff. And so these court cases don't just help Epic, they do help everybody. And so they've changed policy for everyone. So to a degree, he's not wrong on that front, but he certainly hasn't been given much sympathy in the wake of the firings,
Well, yeah. I mean, he's probably what, a billionaire, and I'm
Yeah.
sure it's hard. It's going to be a little harder for people to sympathize with someone who's so unbelievably wealthy, saying, "Oh, well, they'll have great resumes." So I get
Yeah.
why people are maybe a little bit more callous about it.
We are in tough economic times these days, and the wealth income disparity is crazier than it has ever been. So even if you got a billion, although I will say, like Gabe seems to get a pass all the time. He's the billionaire that they're like, he's the billionaire with a heart of gold.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know. It's not consistent. It's all over the board, but I think it's really just how you portray yourself online. People just see what you say and they go, "Oh, that guy's good. That guy's bad."
I mean, well, yeah.
Well,
PR.
yeah, that's for sure what it is. What have you been up to lately, Matt? What have you been playing?
Well, I've been scouring the red sands of, well, actually, not really. I've only just gotten there, but I've been playing just an unbelievable amount of Crimson Desert.
Yeah, false advertising, bro. I haven't seen much red in that game so far.
Yeah.
But you finally found the Crimson?
I found it.
Yeah.
I have done a couple of quests in the Crimson Desert, but oh boy, the game is big. It keeps getting bigger, and it doesn't necessarily get worse or necessarily like repetitive. Like, it gets a bit repetitive at times, but there's just so much to see and find and do.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
Crimson Desert is one of the weirdest release stories, where it got so much flack on like the first few days of launch because it had a really bad, as we discussed last podcast and you brought up, has a really bad intro sequence where you're sort of getting used to the game. And then it gets better after that, which is very weird for games to do. And so apparently, like, the reviews are now changing massively, whereas people are hating the game in the first few hours, and then as they get past the, like, I don't know what hour mark, 12-hour mark, something like that.
It's usually like first 8, which is still a lot, but
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to get through. But after they get past that, people are starting to like it a lot more. So the reviews have swung all the way back in Crimson's favor. Granted, the devs patched some stuff, I believe, pretty quickly and fixed a few things here and there. But
they've been patching it fast.
Yeah,
this doesn't feel like a single player dev cycle where they're like, oh, we'll get to it eventually. This feels okay. On the one hand, great that they're doing all this, but it also solidifies in my mind that this game came out sooner than it should have. If all of this feedback is being taken and they're like just not throwing it out the door, but like getting it out there really quickly, it's like, what were you guys doing with all the feedback that I'm sure you got during development that should have, like, they were clearly having to prioritize other things. And now that the game is out, they're like, okay, now we can get into the more of the quality of life improvements that probably should have been in the game at the very beginning. And that's kind of my takeaway. Is the more as I play, is like, I absolutely love the game, but there is definitely like a lot of pain points from like, this could have not been developed or designed in this way. And they could have handled this very differently. So love the patches, by the way. They added in like new mounts. They've improved performance. They've done a lot of quality of life things that have made, well, who would have thought, life a lot easier. And it's made for a better experience.
Yeah, it's cool to hear that. And people don't understand like how so much of the quality of life stuff gets pushed to the end of these development cycles, because they're going for like big ticket items, and then they're like, we'll just fix all the stuff at the very end because it'll either be easy or it doesn't make sense to fix it now because we'll break it through the process anyway, so do it at the end. But unfortunately, the quality of life pass is usually the last thing. So then if you time it incorrectly, you don't get the quality of life pass. And it sounds like that's what happened with Crimson Desert. So they're getting that stuff patched in quickly, which is great. And I think that's one of the nice things about on Steam too, when you do a big Steam release, is I don't think they charge per patch, so they can just push that out quickly. Like, they test it, they go, okay, these 5 features are working, patch it, as opposed to having to do.
Don't know what it's like on console, because I think they're also patching on console pretty quickly too.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Then. Yeah. Well, I think the game sold pretty well. So I think they're like doing the math and be
It's
like, we
gaining
gotta,
momentum,
yeah, spend the
which
money.
doesn't happen usually for any game. The last one I feel like that did that was Arc Raiders, where I think they now have more peak concurrent than they did when it came out. Right, word of
Mhm.
mouth. You know, when you make a fun game and people are like, "Holy cow, this is actually pretty great." People will go out and buy it and they'll tell their friends like, hey, I've did all, and I think that's what's so much fun about it and why it's appealing to so many people right now is it has a lot of emergent gameplay for a single player game where you feel like it's your own story. It's like this
Mhm.
happened where I just stumbled across a cave and inside a cave there was this really cool item that I found and now I look like a badass, or I stumbled across like a giant treant walking around through the forest, right? Stuff like that. Which is
Yeah.
it's just chock full of that where you're just like, what's over there? And then you find something really cool over there. It's very neat.
Did you find the steampunk trains yet?
I think I saw them out in the distance, but I haven't actually encountered them, no.
Okay. Okay. Like I was watching videos of people like you can interact with them and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's in the Crimson Desert, which I've only just like dipped my toes into. The game somehow slows down in terms of like everything. So I'm on chapter 9, I think, of 12,
oh
and
wow.
it's like, so you get to a point where you start to have to use like very valuable resources to level up your gear. And I haven't really been doing that because I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to level up this particular weapon or this particular armor because it takes really valuable items to do so. And
Yeah.
so I've kind of hit this point in the story where it's like I'm starting to encounter bosses and stuff where I need to start upgrading my gear because I'm gonna get stomped, right? So I have to start making those choices. And so not only from a progression standpoint has things slowed down where I need to make these choices, but also there's just you think you're nearing the end and it's like, nah, there's like you have 2 other zones to find and explore, and which is almost just as content rich as Hernand, which is the first zone. It's crazy how big this
Wow.
game is.
I don't even know how you approach that from a developer standpoint
I
when
don't
you're
either.
just like, how do we get all that stuff done? And the fact that their intro sequence was the thing that got the least amount of attention or whatever, you're like, you built
Yeah.
out all this stuff and then the one thing you didn't do was the first like 8 hours of the game, like polishing that up. But
I have a feeling that they're going to polish that up.
oh,
With
for
how
sure.
receptive they are
Yeah.
to player feedback right now, I'm guessing that they're going to be like, yeah, we need to tighten this entire system because if that's the biggest pain point, we want to keep people engaged and keep people. Thankfully, people are moving past that. But yeah, if it wasn't for word of mouth, I think they probably would have struggled a bit.
How do you, when it comes to like how expansive and how massive the game is, how does it compare to like, I don't know, a Zelda game that's pretty big? Those are pretty big games.
They're big. I think this is bigger. I think it's one of the biggest single player games I've played in a minute. It
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of like, so you make your own fun in a lot of ways, where it reminds me of Skyrim,
Okay.
where like you can go anywhere. I don't know if it's been 15 years since I've played Skyrim though, so you'll have to forgive me if I can't remember how large
Yeah.
that was. But it's not the story of Skyrim. It doesn't have the characters or the dialogue of Skyrim, but the vastness of the exploration is I would say comparable or bigger. Like
Yeah.
I haven't played all of it, so
And the
I
art
don't
looks
know.
great too. Like it's
Mhm.
like for the scale, the visuals seem like higher than most games you would expect.
Unfortunately, if you use like DLSS, there's a lot of stuff in the game that will cause extreme artifacting
Oh no.
where I will. So I have an ability now where I use like a heavy attack and it will then make a ghost of myself. And that does the, another heavy attack. But when it makes a ghost, the ghost for some reason causes the entire screen to go blurry.
Yeah.
Everything on the screen goes blurry. So it's like, do I need to lower my graphical settings so that I just don't have to use DLSS anymore? And then now everything looks a little bit worse, but it won't hopefully look so grainy every time I actually activate an ability. It is, yeah. So love the game, but
Yeah, that's a
times,
problem. Oh my gosh.
yeah, it like the game looks gorgeous, but like in motion or when you're using certain things, it can sadly degrade the visual quality.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like there's enough joy there where people are willing to stick it out. Because it sounds like there's plenty of problems with the games, but it's like one of those situations where you're like, game's so cool, so good, willing to overlook massive pile of problems.
It's interesting because it's, how do I describe this? So you know how a lot of games will be criticized for being a mile wide, but like, you know, like a puddle, you know,
Yeah.
deep, right?
Inch deep,
And
yeah.
this in a way is kind of like that, where there's so many things, there's so many mini games, there's so much just out there for you to explore and see, that I think it becomes more than, you know, those different separate mechanics, because then it really just feels like you're experiencing the world, right? None of it is, I would say that what they have done expertly is the exploration and the sandbox of exploring, but everything else is just kind of, you know, it's good, it's comparable, but it doesn't rise to the mastery level, because most games will like master a couple of systems and that's like the core of the game, right? And that's what hopefully you're going to be sinking your teeth into. And there isn't anything like that necessarily that I have found, except for maybe the combat. The combat's pretty good too. Yeah, so it's fascinating that they've gone so big that it actually, even if all of it may not be a 10 out of 10, it actually adds to the experience, because it's just like, I'm living in this world and I'm doing, you know, like, oh, I want to go do this, now I want to go do that, and you're just bouncing around from activity to activity.
It's funny to see where like almost the subtle differences count for a lot there, where Assassin's Creed got a bunch of flack for the last game that was so massive, because you didn't get the same sensation from the scope or the scale. It just kind of felt repetitive. Yeah. And you're saying this game is repetitive, but also not. Like,
yes, it's hard to describe. It's like, why is it working here when it didn't really work? Because I enjoyed it, the recent Assassin's Creed. It was fine, you know. I wasn't blown away by it, but at no point was I like, oh, what's over there? You know, probably because it was, you know, trying to play it more realistically. But it's like, oh, there's another castle you can go take over. It's pretty similar to the last castle you took over. You might get like some new armor, or there might be some story cutscene or here and there. But I think the more fantastical fantasy side of this game, I think, adds to the flavor, because you are finding really unique items. And now that I'm hitting more, I don't even know if it's end game, I'm starting to see some cool weapons. And like now I have a shield where if I parry or block an attack, it will send out basically a cannon fire and like hit and they'll start to burn. And it's like, cool. It's sick. I'm like, this is awesome, right? And I got it after I took out a random side boss, right? Okay. Which is very cool, right? It's just, so you just constantly are finding new things that changes up the way you play.
It's kind of that's really exciting, especially where if it truly feels a little bit more random, or just the scope of things where you're getting items that change up how you play so drastically, but you could have just as easily missed that if you just hadn't gone off on this weird leg of your adventure.
I wouldn't say it changes things dramatically. Like you're not all of a sudden going to become, you know, a completely different character, but it does. They're cool little subtle rewards. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool, man. So I want to talk about Gray Zone Warfare, but I feel like we could use a little amuse-bouche in between massive open world game talk.
Fair.
I've been playing a demo. I've been playing fun little Steam demos lately, and one that I've enjoyed is called Fog Piercer. Have you played that one yet?
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah. This is a game I heard about because it was sort of it was kind of like a game concept that I wanted to design, and then I started researching to see if anybody was making games like this, and then Fog Piercer popped up. I'm like, oh, this is really close to the game I thought about making, and it's definitely thematically taking a lot of notes from the movie Snowpiercer.
They call it Fog Piercer. All right.
Yes, yeah. It's not like the name isn't just a coincidence. Yeah. It's basically a roguelite train combat strategy game. So you're on this train, you can upgrade it with parts, you get attacked by these like Mad Max style bands of vehicles that come up next to you. Yeah. And then you have to sort of fight them, but the fights are like puzzles. So it's very much, you can push them around. You can launch a artillery shell, which will move a car in front of the train. And then you can ram it with the train. You've gone fuzzy, Matt.
Yeah, I don't know why. This camera's been getting me all sorts of problems lately.
Oh, there is. It's the sheen from your head. It's
It is the sheen. Yeah, it's
throwing, it's
that
throwing it
bald
off.
sheen.
Yeah. Um, so the demo for Frog Piercer, I really like it. I think they're kind of nailing it. It's a little traditional in the sense of like um with the roguelike, you kind of run through your path pretty quickly. You get cards, they give you abilities, you kind of build your deck for your train abilities, I guess, as you go, and then you draw a hand each round. And that sort of dictates your choices during the battle. And so you have to try and build your hand correctly. So there's a lot of like Slay the Spire type adjacencies there, but it's a train. So it's just got that train cool factor. And I'm enjoying it. I think I'm just a sucker for train games. And
Trains are cool.
trains are
Can't
cool.
deny that.
I know. It's one of those games you're like,
What is the fog part? Is it just because you're going through fog?
I think so.
Okay. All right.
It's
Just
sort
an
of
interesting name.
it's
Well, we can't call it Snowpiercer because that would be way too on the nose. But fog, maybe.
What is funny about it is that it is snowy everywhere, but
Yeah,
I
I
guess
just watched the
there's
little trailer for it.
yeah, but I guess they're like, well, can't call it like Blizzard Piercer, so I don't know, fog or something.
All right, fair enough.
It's definitely on the nose, but to a certain extent, it's kind of cool. Also, there is no on train economy or like ecosystem of people. It's just you're just a battle train. You're like you may as well be a Mad Max train or something, and
Yeah.
you can pick different engineers, I guess they would be called, that have different
Dude, I feel like
abilities.
not a survival, but like a city manager game where it is Snowpiercer would be super fascinating if you could make that work, right?
Yeah, that would
could
be
be
cool.
really cool.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. Like every time you come in a station or something, you can like get new upgrades or like different people come on board, and then you go, and it's like keeping
kind of like a Frostpunk kind of vibe, like we're dystopian, real like gritty, where you're having to make hard choices and stuff like that. Dude, that'd be sick. I would play the hell out of that. That sounds really fun.
If you're thinking about it, good chance somebody's building it right now. Like,
probably, yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed
me.
I've noticed that a lot with game dev, where you're just like, this is a good idea. This is a great idea. And then you look it up and you're like, somebody had this
Already
idea
done.
1 year before me, and it's like work in progress right now. So it's funny, like the parallel thought stuff, you don't think about it too much until you realize like, oh, all the things that triggered my ideas for why we should do that also triggered like hundreds of other people down the exact same thought path.
Yeah.
At slightly different points in time. But I remember thinking that when I was getting into iOS development and like writing down game ideas for the very first iPhone, because like it was all touch screen and it was sort of new interface and you're sort of inventing new ideas. And then I'd write them down in a little notebook, and then I'd search around for a while because they didn't have good searches back then. You just really had to search for it. And then I think 9 times out of 10, the game idea was already done or had been done or somebody was doing it. I was like, oh man, like there's just so much parallel think going on.
You're not
now.
a unique snowflake, are you?
You just got to try a lot until you get
dime
unique.
a dozen over here.
Yeah. Well, at the low end of development, right? When cost is cheap.
Yeah.
There's tons of ideas. Once you get to the higher end development where you're like, all right, this game's going to cost $1 million plus to make, then you're like, okay, well, not everybody's done this yet. But yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, that's what I've been playing. That and a few other little roguelikes here and there. I recommend that one. It's fun. It's not out yet. It's just the demo. But the thing that I want to play this week, because it's coming out this week for everyone, is the new Gray Zone Warfare update.
Yeah, I had a chance to play it, and it's not bad. It's definitely getting there.
So they have PvE servers and PvP servers now.
Correct.
Yeah. What were you playing on?
So I got a preview build from the developers, so I was able to just play. So I basically played by myself. Eventually, there was one PvP encounter where it was pitch black, and I was at one of my bases, and all of a sudden, mortar fire started descending upon me like the wrath of God, and I cowered in a tent while mortars landed all around me, and I was low on HP. I then proceeded to try and kill the man. missed all my shots because it was pitch black, and then he just proceeded to kill me. So it went great.
Sounds
but
fun.
the PvE side of things
Yeah.
Was also fun. So the AI is still a little scuffed. They still need improvements there. But one thing that they've noticeably done is that now there's like a bunch of different factions, and they're all very unique with their visuals, and they all have like kind of a similar vibe. So you'll kind of know what kind of engagement you're getting into. If you see them wearing some more ragtag, you kind of right. And I think their AI is also based off of that as well, where they're like, if you get flanked by the military dudes, they're going to absolutely destroy you, right? Like you can't even turn around at some points. But it's not like because I remember when the game originally came out, if you like saw or shot at something, like 20 men would come at you and they would shoot you through bushes, and there's no way, like you can't hide from them, right? They're basically just T-1000s. So they've toned that down, thankfully, but kept the challenge to some extent. The AI now responds to where you shoot them. So if you shoot them in the leg, they might fall to the ground. They'll get back up, but they'll fall to the ground.
That's pretty
if you
cool.
hit them in like, the different parts of their body and their organs, they'll start to like bleed out and they'll like wheeze, and it's kind of disturbing. I feel bad when it's happening.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. But so it makes it a lot. The visual feedback of when you're hitting someone in the game feels a lot better now, where they feel like they're not just standing there tanking it and shooting back at you. They're responding to the shots that you're landing.
It reminds me of, do you remember 007 GoldenEye, where like
I do.
You'd shoot the guards in like the knee, and they'd be like, "Ah, my knee," and they'd bend down for like a second, but like you didn't kill them, so you knew they'd come back up. And then if you timed it right, you could like shoot them in the arm after that, and then be like, "Ah, my arm," just like cradling whichever part of your butt. You could like trap them. You could stun lock them in a like "ow, I'm injured" animation sequence.
Yeah.
For like a significant amount of time. And I always found that very funny in that game.
Yeah. Though there is, so if you get headshots in this, it doesn't one shot always.
Yeah.
So even if it could be, I'm just bad. It could be hit registration. I did notice some times where I'm like, how are these not hitting the shot? So I don't know if there's like some hit reg problems, but yeah, you'll shoot them in the head repeatedly. Sometimes it'll be one shot. Maybe I wasn't accommodating for, bullet travel time or bullet drop or anything like that. But so just be prepared that this isn't necessarily a one-shot tap headshot every single time.
Okay.
Even when they're not wearing armor, which I found a little strange, a little bit weird, but it could have been a me problem, right? It could have been I wasn't accommodating for bullet drop.
How's the overall game's progression and stuff? Because I mean, a big problem with Gray Zone Warfare kind of has always been like the sense of any sort of end game or goal.
Yeah, so I don't know what the end game is going to be like. They added in a lot more places of interest, POIs, so that it feels more fleshed out, where you are not just wandering through a forest. You are still wandering through a forest, but you'll be stumbling across more places and things to do. Man, the quality of life has been vastly improved, where if you have a mission, it will show you on the map now where the mission is, a general location. You can click on the mission and accept it from that map menu. You don't have to go and like talk to the person. You're like, "Oh, we're going this area. Let me accept that mission real quick." And then you can go there and find it. It doesn't show you exactly where it is. You will still maybe have to go into the actual menu and like read like, "Oh, I'm looking for a dude that's wearing a bandana or whatnot." But at least you're not having to like go to a website or
the mission.
Like, okay, it's at this coordinate.
Sucked.
This coordinate. It was really stupid, right? It was dumb. It's like, that's not why I'm playing this game, is to look at coordinates and like, okay, we're in this coordinate and this coordinate, and like, no, thank you.
I don't mind stuff where it's like, oh, where the river bends sharply, there's a rock, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you at least look at the map and you're like, okay, I think they mean right there. Like that can be fine as long as you're not digging through pages of stuff to find the info you need, or it's just buried in a cumbersome UI. Because Gray Zone Warfare is a milsim open world game, which you're creeping through the jungle and stalking people. And I think most people don't want to spend their time stuck in a clunky UI. Like they want to spend their time moving through the world.
Yeah. I think that the quality of life improvements, at least with that, are great. I really liked it. I've never been someone who needs to or wants to try and find a needle in a haystack of like what do they actually mean. So I personally think it was a great choice. As in terms of end game, you still don't go to the center. I don't know when they're eventually going to get to whatever is in the center of the map, the weird radiation anomalies or whatever is going to happen there. That's not in the game yet. But they've now added actual like loot that you can find. I don't know if it's going to be useful for anything, but I went to a very high loot location near the tail end of my stream where I found like really expensive watches, and I picked up valuable intel that I was able to then sell for a decent amount, right? And because when the game released, you found food, you found bullets, you found weapons, and that was about it. There wasn't any like thing that you were really trying to go after necessarily, like what you would experience with something like Escape from Tarkov. This isn't going for a Tarkov really anymore. It's trying to do its own thing, which I really respect. But that thing is more PvE focused, where it's PvE VP, where the P is kind of, it's there, but it's not like that's why I'm playing Gray Zone. Maybe that will change when the middle section opens up and everyone's going after like the really big loot, and they're like and they're in that area. You know, all three are converging on one area of the map because of the three factions. Then you might get more of it. But yeah, it is kind of like live in the world. You can extract by finding different locations that you can then take over, so you're not having to go all the way back to the base like you used to.
Yeah, so there's actual progression in the jungle environment.
Yeah.
It's always been a fascinating game concept to me because they really are trying new things. Not all of them work. Some of them I still have issues with like the helicopters always landing in very specific spots, being predictable and kind of annoying.
Operator Drewski just posted that. He's like, this is still a thing where someone was trying to camp the extract. We were invulnerable, which is, I didn't know that, but you apparently have like a god mode invincibility when you land for a couple of seconds, and some random guy was like right there and he tried to shoot him, but he's like, no, you can't do damage to me, boy.
Yeah. So they've sort of put in safeguards for it, but it's awkward. It is awkward. It's fixes for kind of a bad concept.
Yeah. If you have to give someone god mode in a extraction style game, like,
well, you know what's funny about the helicopter thing? So they're building this game in UE5. The graphics look insane. They've got these sort of predetermined little bird flight paths that drop you off into your area of operation, right? They're sort of your little taxi rides to get out there quicker. We know helicopters in any other game can be either manually controlled or whatever. Like, there doesn't seem to be a good reason why they couldn't create more dynamic drop locations where you can just be like, drop me here, drop me there, and the chopper could land you somewhere else, you know? So
I agree. I do think the chopper system probably needs some improving. I don't think it's as bad as it was, especially when they originally came out in early access, because you can take these little fobs around the world where like you just need to get close to one of those locations, and then you're going to be spawning back there. You're not like in the 6 hours that I played, I was in a helicopter maybe 3 or 4 times. Right. Okay. So I wasn't really using that system. I was I was spawning back into the jungle, and I didn't need to go back to the base, like hardly ever. So
yeah. Well, cool. It's I've been following it because it did so well at launch in terms of sales and interest, but people dropped off right away because they're like, oh, okay, like there's not much to do here. You know, 5-6 hours in the game and you've done just about everything there is to do. So people just immediately disappeared. We're like, cool, I'll come back when this is better. This latest update's been pretty big. And then I even think that comment by Drewski, they responded to it and were like, hey, all this stuff is coming in our next patch. This small patch here, this patch that they just launched was supposed to be a smaller patch, but they kept adding and adding and adding to it to the point
where
now
it's like their biggest patch yet.
Yeah, they're like, it's kind of huge, but it wasn't meant as like a major patch. So they're like, our big
Yeah.
stuff is coming next or whatever. And so
And I like the direction they're taking with some of the POIs as well. I had like a puzzle I had to uncover where I needed to drain water from an underground bunker, and then I was able to get through that, and then got some loot. That is the one thing I would critique, is I feel like the effort that went into getting there and the loot that I got didn't seem like it was good enough. But it was also, I was playing a build where I already had great loot, so
sure,
they kind of gave me everything. And so when I stumbled across something, I was like, oh, well, that I did all that for that. Like, I already have greater stuff than that, but also they gave me the good stuff, right? So.
Yeah, it seems like there's a market for this sort of. I'm simplifying it, but kind of the milsim version of Arc Raiders to a degree, where they're like, it's mainly focused on PvE, but there is also PvP, and you go around and you run missions essentially and upgrade your character and loot and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it shares a lot of things with Arc Raiders.
It does have that appeal too, because I even like before the stream I was like, I kind of want to play some more Gray Zone. I enjoyed my time. It was a vibe just existing in the jungle.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I can appreciate that too, where you're the experience is just moving around and enjoying the world, as opposed to, all right, get to point A, collect the stuff, get back to point B. Like that can get cumbersome when there isn't enough stuff to do in between, right? You gotta be reminded that you're not on just some glorified fetch quest, right? And that can be hard to do sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to avoid it. Just if you're on the internet, it's kind of hard to avoid this narrative or these articles that keep popping up. But I keep seeing the like marathon budget articles and the how much it's made articles and player retention and all that stuff. The latest ones are basically them estimating that the game's sold like 1.2 million copies so far, which they say is like almost from any angle is way below what they need to break even.
That would sound low with probably what they were aiming for. Yeah.
It's Bungie. Sony's put a ton of money into this. This is Bungie's next big IP launch, right?
Yeah.
So it's got to do well. They're banking big on it. So yeah, the articles are kind of reiterating a bit of what we've said already, but putting a little bit more numbers behind it, a little bit more guesstimates on like how far down they are in terms of how much they probably have lost. So I'm curious to see, because it's not like Marathon's seen a steep drop, but what do you think about stuff like their latest event being like a weekend only event and stuff like that? I see some people pissed about that.
Well, some people are, because so they've taken feedback, and they're now, I believe it goes from Thursday to Sunday for the Cryo Archive. So I think they opened it up by a couple of days, which is great. I think that was the right choice. Yeah. Some people work on the weekends, right? And it would suck to be like, screw you can't play and you can't enjoy this game, where that's like a big draw of it. They then moved the rank to, I think, Monday. I can't remember. But so it basically kind of is like, do you want to play Cryo Archives? And then once Cryo Archives is offline, you can then play ranked, and you can get like sweaty and get down with that. I think what they did with that was great. I think they listened to feedback. It is. So I really enjoy Marathon. And now that reviewers are coming out after Cryo Archives has launched, a lot you see really positive ones from IGN. I think gave it a 9 out of 10. Right? There's a lot of other media where 8s and 9s, because it's a good game. It's a good game, but it's also a very niche game. Extraction shooters are just a niche genre, and they decided that they weren't going to go for casual. And they're going to go hardcore. And they made one of the hardest extraction shooters out there. I wouldn't say it's necessarily as difficult as Tarkov in terms of the knowledge that it requires to get involved and understand, like, oh, I need these bullets for this weapon, this attachment for this weapon, right? It doesn't have that kind of complexity with its depth of knowledge, but the actual moment-to-moment gameplay is incredibly sweaty. And that makes it tough for a casual player to be like, yeah, I want to get involved with that and get, potentially slapped all the time. I haven't put a lot of time into Cryo Archive, and that's because you need buddies to play with. And
you don't have any friends.
Well, I mean, I have friends,
I'm
but
just kidding.
they go to sleep, and I stream late, and it makes it tough.
That's
So
a hard requirement, right? To put
yeah,
on a game where you're like, this is super fun, but you have to have two other guys who are dialed in. Because I mean, like, we
right.
probably know a ton of people that maybe wouldn't be great teammates, but would be down to play it, and you would just like get frustrated. So now you're like, not only do I have to have two buddies who are willing to go and play this for several hours in a row with us, but they
Yeah,
gotta be on my level, or we're all just gonna get frustrated, which is with each other's varying degrees of skill, which is tough.
right.
That's a tough requirement.
So for me, I still really like the game. I'm still playing it, but at the same time, I kind of it's not that I wanted Cryo Archives to be easier, but it would have been nice to have a solo Cryo Archives, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because to have a game's really focused on threes is fine, but man, when I just want to I want to play the game, but I want to feel that
Yeah.
sense of progression, I've got 3 maps and that's it. Right. Like I can't play on Cryo Archives. I can't just go in and be like, I'm gonna do a Cryo Archive. I can't do that. So maybe this is something that they can remedy with a future update where they add in a map that is maybe not as hard as Archives, but it kind of goes, in between that and Outpost, where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, Outpost is tough, but this next one is really going to challenge you as a solo player, and even groups will be challenged by it too, right? So we'll see what happens. My hope is that they don't give up on this. I think that you like if Sony constantly is like, hey, we're going to invest all this money into a game and then just abandon it after a couple of months,
Mm-hmm.
I think eventually you have to stand your ground. You have to be like,
Yeah.
okay, let's make this work. A lot of other early access, this is not an early access game, but a lot of multiplayer games that we play and that are mega titles right now did not start off that way. Rainbow Six Siege, Hunt Showdown. There's tons of examples of games that it took them a bit to kind of find their footing and figure out what worked and what didn't work. And with how much fun Marathon is, if they can keep the fun, but maybe round off some of the edges that is maybe keeping people away, or just word of mouth expand the game,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It's kind of wild to think, but like, can you imagine Arc Raiders being successful if they didn't have solo play? Like, I mean, solo play is such a
Yeah.
big part of that game. So I know Marathon does have it, but Arc doesn't have any of its content, as far as I know, locked behind
No.
team play. Like, you can go in solo and there's content meant to group up with people, but they establish that really well. So you're there fighting the queen with a whole group of randos, and it's fun and it's cool and you can do it. In fact, I've taken the queen down so many more times random groups than I have in trios, because it's actually
Trios
harder.
is more kill in sight.
Yeah, trios is more kill in sight. It's actually harder to do some of the content with groups, ironically.
Somehow Arc Raiders got away with PvP not being the focus, even though it's a big part of the game. I don't know how culturally that happened. I think they got really lucky with it personally, especially for solos. Because you're right, like the queen would have been you can't do this solo kind of activity, but then as we saw it now, everyone's just banding together to take it out, which is really cool. I think it's emergent gameplay like that is awesome.
Yeah. So hopefully not Destiny, Marathon. I think it kind of reminds
Destiny too. Hopefully Destiny as well.
Hopefully Destiny does well with their next game and all that stuff. But yeah, Marathon's got some work cut out for it. I'm worried that whatever they have planned for down the road is not going to come out fast enough. So that's always a concern, is lack of content. So if they see a drop off due to lack of content, that's going to hurt them for sure. Sony has been pulling the plug left, right, and center on every studio and every game. I even have a story listed on here on my notes for Dark Outlaw Games was a new studio that Sony funded that had a well-known Call of Duty developer heading the whole thing, and he was going to work on some big project. They were open for a year. Sony just pulled all their funding, shut down the studio. And you're like,
damn.
I mean, it's happening everywhere. We're talking about Epic, we're talking about Sony, everybody's dropping money. And so I think you're right. You got to stand your ground on some things. And like, if anybody deserves, if any, if any brand deserves a little bit more leeway, I mean, it'd be Bungie, right? It's like, come on,
Yeah.
guys. They're legendary.
Yeah.
They are so well known and recognized that if you did lose money on this project, is that because they made a bad game? No, people are saying it's a good game. Is it because you spent $100 million more than you should have on the game? Probably. Like, I
Yeah. Yeah.
mean, kind of understand the market. We're talking about a niche game. You're saying a super hardcore extraction game, really hard. Okay, Arc Raiders is anybody can play. I was playing it with people who suck at FPSs, and we were just playing
Yeah.
casual lobbies and having a good time, you know? Not a marathon. Marathon's like, either you got my back or I'm getting a new team, you know? Like, we got to make this work, guys.
Right.
So they're going for this hardcore world. And then again, at the same time, I don't know, Counter-Strike's the biggest game in the world. And that Counter-Strike is sweaty also. It's accessible sweaty, so I don't know. It's sort of this like weird conundrum. But
some of the most popular, I mean, really, it's like all the competitive games are hard. Dota, League, Rainbow Six Siege, Counter-Strike, Apex Legends, they're not like low skill games. They require a lot on the part of the player.
So maybe
you can make it work.
Yeah, maybe this will work, but Sony just needs to give them the time to build up the audience, right? Because I don't think any of the hardcore competitive games we're playing today, almost none of them were hits right away. They like built up over time, you know.
Right.
So maybe that's what needs to happen with Marathon.
I mean, I'd like them to stick with it, but also I'm selfish because I think the game is fun. But at the same time, you know, I'm not the one funding them, right? They're like, well, yeah, we're glad the people that are liking it like it, but this is also costing millions of dollars.
Well,
so
and also
that is unfortunate to hear that they only sold 1.2 million because
estimated.
Yeah,
but yeah,
estimated. Yeah,
yeah, and also
it does seem on the lower side.
Yeah. Well, and also, so I mean, we've been covering stories of Sony shutting down studios all over the place. Maybe to keep Marathon up and running is why they're shutting down other studios. You know,
Maybe
they're never going to tell you that, but when you have a finite pool of money and you're like, well, we gotta put it where we think is gonna see the most success, and they're like, man, this game didn't even get they didn't even get halfway through production with this game before you pulled the plug, and they're like, they had no chance at even proving themselves. So yeah, tough situation all around. I feel bad, and I hope that Marathon does have a nice, I don't want to call it a course correction because they're getting great praise for what they built, but
yeah,
I hope they have a long support for this game and able to realize all the cool stuff they want to do with it.
Agreed.
Yeah, because otherwise
it won't be for everybody, but it doesn't have to be for everybody.
Yeah, and eventually Destiny 3 will come out.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Right? They must be working on that already, I hope.
You would assume, especially with the way Destiny 2 was gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it might be half a decade away at this point.
Yeah. With the ongoing price increase stories of hardware and everything across the board, the PlayStation got another price hike to $650 for the Pro. However, because people were like, "Oh my God, hardware prices just aren't slowing down," people are now buying out the PlayStation Pro because they're terrified, and now but also being relisted for like $900 now. So basically,
so they're scalping it. Is what they're doing.
So what was happening with GPUs forever, right? You know, they're just buying up all the GPUs, and this was back when they were mining Bitcoin with it or whatever,
right?
Or Ethereum, whatever you mined with the GPUs. The prices were just skyrocketing, doubling in price, and now we're seeing that with consoles due to the shortage. So scalping is now coming in, and this just sucks for gamers, man. Like, it really does. Across the board, hardware prices are going through the roof. Like, I don't even know what I would have to do if I had to rebuy all the hard drives that I'm using for like storing footage and files and all that stuff. Like, I mean, we're getting into the thousands of dollars now. And it's like, it didn't cost me that much to buy this stuff, but it's like, yeah, you got to take care of your hardware now. Make sure it
Yeah.
doesn't fail.
Though apparently RAM has gone down a little bit, and I heard it was because Google. I should have looked in this more before
Oh,
I brought
yeah.
it up. But apparently Google had figured out a better way of generating
Yeah.
AI or something, and prices have at least dipped a little bit for RAM, which is nice to see.
Yeah, I read that and it seems to be pretty subtle.
Pretty
And
subtle. Okay.
people are saying that they think it's actually going to not make a big difference
Great.
because the demand for AI will still remain insanely high. It just means they will make more AI.
The demand for AI amongst businesses for some reason will remain very high.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. Like everybody says we're in a bubble, but I think most realistically, we are in a trajectory that has, it's like looking at any sort of S&P stock line, right? It goes up and then comes down and goes up and comes down, but it's ultimately just heading up.
It's ultimately going up. Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially.
And I think that's what's happening with AI right now. It's like, we're in a bubble. It's like, yeah, we might be in a bubble on a upwards trajectory though, where I don't think it's slowing down. So eventually production will catch up with demand one day, I imagine. But
you think you talk? Okay, yeah.
yeah. So, and that's what will bring prices down. The Google thing is really cool though, where they're like, hey, we figured out this way so we can like run LLMs or whatever with 6 times more efficient memory usage or something. Like, that's like a huge breakthrough. You don't see 6x performance improvements like ever on anything.
Yeah.
So that's massive. That's really cool. I've seen some of the other theories too, so we know companies like ChatGPT, or not ChatGPT, but OpenAI that run ChatGPT. They've been in the red forever. They've never made any money. They're hemorrhaging more money per year than any company, I think, in history. And people are saying they're never going to be able to turn this around to be profitable. And the second that they do, the prices for using AI are going to go so astronomically high that people are going to be like, let's just hire back all the people we fired to use AI in the first place or something. I don't know. Like there's like going to be a point at which there will probably be a reckoning on like all these companies investing billions of dollars in this tech and not seeing
you're describing the bubble,
it.
bro. That you said that isn't gonna. You're describing the bubble.
That bubble, but I'm saying like I don't know. You're right. It's like
That's the bubble.
There's clearly a demand, but we haven't proven the actual cost of the tech yet. Like the upfront investment is so massive that you're like, you're not going to see a return on this investment for quite a while, guys.
We just saw Sora get taken offline, right?
Yeah. So
and we saw Disney pulling out of it. So this might be the beginning of, I wouldn't say the end, but because I don't think AI is going to go away forever. But I do think that there might be like, they're starting to realize like, okay, this actually is not, there's no content revenue here. There's what are we going to make our money off of? People making stupid videos? Like, that's not good. Like, who's going to pay for that?
Yeah. No, the billions of dollars are not being paid for by the dumb AI cat videos that we're seeing online. Even though you're like, oh, look at that. The cat's doing kung fu in an old fashioned kung fu movie. That's cute. It only cost us $1 trillion in tech development for that stupid thing. Yeah, that change was because basically all the money right now, the biggest use case for AI is coding. So video editing and video development is not where the money is. And so they just went, oh crap, we're never going to make our money back on Sora.
So why does there seem to be such a big push for generative AI then?
Because everybody wants to be the first person to have the product that does make it big, right? Like they were trying everything, and then it turned out that coding was like the best thing so far. It's not to say that generative AI for videos couldn't be good someday. It could potentially be amazing, but it's also the most expensive use of AI right now, where you're like, if you want to make a minute long video, it's going to cost you way more than writing a program, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Because the lines of
No,
code,
it does make sense.
yeah, it's just way more expensive. You know, you've rendered video for YouTube. It takes a long time. Your GPU gets hot. It works for a while. Whereas if you have to
Yeah.
compile a piece of software or write out some code, it's just text. You know, it's not
Yep.
intensive in any way. So
My
anyway,
favorite are the bros who are like, hey, dude, Hollywood's so cooked, and they show off the just most janky like video of like a girl like transforming into like a like a car or something like that.
Yeah.
But like for some reason when it does a 360 around, her body like goes the other direction. You're like, what? This is awful. Like it's genuinely terrible. Like what are you doing?
there's too many posts of that online where it's usually CEOs or executives, and Elon's a culprit here too, where he'll post something and he's like, look how good this is. And you're like, this is what happens when somebody with no artistic eye thinks technology is amazing. And they're like, look at this. And you're like, that looks like absolute trash.
Like so the thing is like on the one hand, like when you first take a glimpse at it, you're like, oh, that looks kind of cool. But then you like look at it and you're like, something's wrong. There's something off about this.
Yeah.
And then you realize that there is something wrong about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It fools you for a second and then it shatters.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go. Oh, you know what I did want to say though is, the Hollywood cook thing. Did you see about what Ben Affleck did? Did you read that article?
No.
So Ben Affleck, little closet genius over here, is
he's got like a company, right?
well, he built an AI video company that basically built all these tools using LLMs and Gen AI to build tools for film studio editing to do all the things that you need to do in like a movie company that would otherwise cost you a crap load of money in the editing room or from the post-production room. And so like it'd be stuff, they just reference things where it's like, hey, if you need to remove a thing from a scene, or you need to get rid of the wires, or you need to like clean up the color grading and remove all this stuff. And that they apparently just developed all these tools where they're like, yeah, if you use our product, like you'll save yourself millions of dollars on the editing side for your film.
Yeah.
So apparently they developed a lot. I don't know how good it is because it's all kind of behind closed doors deals and stuff, but he sold his company for $600 million. And you're just like,
Jesus.
Oh my God. Yeah. So he knew something. He knew how to leverage that tech to a way that could, I mean, maybe it's not useful, but maybe it is. Maybe it's incredible. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I could see on the one hand having a technology where you could just, because like if someone's on a wire and they need to get rid of the wires, just click a button and then the computer's like, yeah, I recognize the wires. Get it out of there, right?
Yeah.
But how good of a job will it do? No idea.
I think it's probably pretty solid at that type of work, you know. But again, I'm not working in film post-production, so I don't know all the things they have to do all the time. But
right, if
he has an intimate knowledge of that, and then they train all these tools to be incredibly good at all that stuff, I could see the value there, you know.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it'll be interesting, man. AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, and just waiting for those robots, man. Those robots with all the AI tech.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to do.
You want your hot robots, huh?
I see where you're going with it, Matt. I was gonna say maybe like do the dishes or fold the laundry, you know. But to each their own on that front.
Well, you know, it's.
I mean, they've been making animes about this for decades.
Long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah. In Japan, they've been like, when do we get the sex robots back in the 80s? They're like, come on, we need this tech.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Ghost in the Shell for the first time. And it's just like, why is she got to be naked when she's like assaulting all those people? Like she needs to like the invisible technology doesn't work unless she's fully nude. You're like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Science.
Whatever you say.
It would be cool to have robots, you know, like little helpers that would, you know, do basic house chores and stuff like that. That'd be nice. Will be the iRobot situation where we'll just have a bunch of definitely not robots that will want to, you know, take over the world after they get, different code in there, right?
Yeah. That'll be scary. You know what I was thinking about is like, okay, you'd have to build their code base super secure. Like they don't get updates over Wi-Fi or something. That'd be too easy
Right.
to like
It'd be way too easy.
put a virus in there. But also like, we have places if you ever like read about like some of these like nuclear plant sabotage stories where they had to get like special viruses in to like disrupt power structures and stuff, like people have figured out ways to get viruses into facilities that are completely cut off network wise and everything and have crazy high security. So it's like doing it with a robot wouldn't be that hard. Like getting a little USB drive into a robot, updating the firmware.
Well, you'd like to think that the robots would also have code in them or something, like just mechanical, like a mechanical failure where they wouldn't be able to do certain tasks, or like.
Well, you're saying a mechanical failure, but it's all software, man. You got a servo on there, and if you don't want that servo to like bash somebody's head in, you got to tell.
So what I'm saying is, you make a
side.
robot that is. So like, okay, so this is what I'm trying to describe.
Yeah.
So you have a robot where you could make it so that it could punch through a brick wall, or you could have it so that when it tries to punch a brick wall, it shatters, right? Like stuff like that, where it's like, you don't make it so that it has the strength of 50 men, you give it the strength of half a man, right?
That's actually one of the robots on the market right now, where this company just started selling this like $50,000 biped robot. It's mostly for like research right now. I assume at some point that price is meant to come down. But specifically, it does not have the strength, like you said, to do any real damage for the most part.
Exactly.
And one of the top comments on like their trailer for this new robot was a guy being like, I hope it can open the fridge to bring me a beer. Otherwise, like, what's the point of this stupid robot?
Right.
Which it's like, oh, this great tech. He's like, can it bring me a beer? Like, if it can't pull on the fridge door hard enough.
But at the same time, like, do we really need robots for that? Like,
I mean, we don't need anything, but it's cool.
It is cool. It is definitely cool. But like, at some point, it's like doing daily chores. Yes, clean the dishes sucks. Yes, doing the laundry kind of sucks. Yeah. But it's not like it's, I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to become obnoxious slobs, dude. It's going to be the worst.
I was going to say, like, maybe our house will be nice and clean because, the robots cleaned everything. That would be the big thing, is cleaning sucks. I do not like cleaning, especially bathrooms, freaking toilet. I hate clean toilets. I hate it.
Yeah. Well, and also, like, I mean, when they showed off that conveyor belt robot that was just sorting packages or whatever, and they're like, look, it does the job perfectly. And you're like, oh my God, that's a big old job sector that's about to get eliminated, like globally.
Potentially, yeah.
Holy smokes.
But you don't even need so the only thing, I know we're just going down the rabbit hole now.
I know.
But like, you don't need to have a robot that can walk around to be able to do that job. You just put a actual stationary robot that could be on, to do that job anyway. So that job, that's already something that we've been able to do and automate forever now, right? You wouldn't need to have a bipedal robot.
You're saying
to do that
don't
task.
charge me for a whole robot, just charge me for half the robot because I don't need the legs, bro. Cut off the legs.
It's not what I'm saying, but sure.
Sounds like what? Well, the argument is that our whole society is built around humans doing stuff. So if you build a human robot, it can fit into a lot of different roles, and you don't have to design a custom one. And then the production cost comes down, because if you have to design 20 different robots for 20 different tasks versus one robot for 20 different tasks
that can just learn those tasks.
Yeah, you end up with
I hear what you're saying.
Cheaper product. Anyway,
I hear what you're saying.
We are deep in the weeds. I watched a fun Sam Raimi movie. Sam Raimi's still making movies. He's I like him as a director. He makes tons of weird, goofy stuff. Army of Darkness is his classic, but he also did the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, and he does good horror, but it's like horror comedy kind of. And so his latest movie is called Send Help, and it's fun. It's not, I'm not going to sit here and say it's like the greatest thing you'll ever watch, but it is a fantastic popcorn movie of sort
What
of.
happens when you're on an island with someone?
Yeah, yeah. It follows the story of a corporate office worker who forgot her name, but she's sort
She
of
gets
like
fired from like a douche of a boss, right? Like he's just an asshole.
she doesn't get fired, but like she gets overlooked for the promotion that she
Ah,
deserves. The corporate people are kind of these broy guys, and he
yeah.
promotes the guy that was his frat bro, that's been working at the company for 6 months. So they're all on this private flight to go oversee a merger thing, in Japan or wherever they're going to, and the flight goes down over the ocean. And only
And
her
then they
and
have to
her
survive on an
boss.
island.
Yeah, it's just her and her boss are the two survivors of the plane crash. And
And she discovers she actually kind of likes hunting and gathering.
have you
More
seen
the
it, Matt?
hunting part. No, I've seen the trailer though.
Yeah. It's quite fun, actually, I gotta say. And it's full of Sam Raimi campiness. And
Uh-huh.
he shoots movies in a way where you're just watching it, you're like, they don't make movies like this anymore. Like,
And unless until they do, like with the movie you're watching.
yeah. Well, or like
They don't make movies like this anymore, yet you're
he's
watching
the
that
only
movie
guy
right
that
now.
makes them. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, but it is kind of ironic when you think about it from that lens.
Yeah, for sure. I'll say he hasn't changed. So like his style has been very
Yeah,
consistent throughout the years.
I
If you
got
ever
you.
saw Drag Me to Hell, which is a kind of a horror comedy as well,
Uh-huh.
it's just kind of it's like almost a combination of like slapstick comedy and legitimate horror with very kind of campy, fun, semi-predictable storylines that are just tongue in cheek, but in his own style, and they just make him very endearing. And you're just like, I like that movie. I don't know what it was about it, but it's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
So I recommend that one. There's also another one that I watched that I think you can just watch it on Hulu now if you have a subscription, but it's called Is This Thing On? And it's got Will Arnett in it, who's Lego Batman, Arrested Development, all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. Um, it's apparently based on a true story where a guy's going through a divorce and he goes down to a bar and doesn't want to pay the cover charge. So they say you can go in for free if you sign up to do the stand-up comedy thing. And so he ends up just signing up and then going up and doing stand-up and like kind of venting out his frustrations, but I guess in sort of a funny way, and then feeling a sense
This is
of
therapeutic.
therapeutic, and ends up really getting into stand-up comedy because of this and enjoying it. And I don't want to give away some of the plot points because they're really good, but it's based on a true story, and all the best parts of this are actually true events that really happened, and
Uh-huh.
it's really endearing and enjoyable and well acted. And it's got Will Arnett, it's got Laura Dern in it. Bradley Cooper's in it as like this comedic. He's kind of plays this doofus, and he's really good at it. Yeah, bunch of big name actors, a lot of real comedians who show up as cameos in it. It's a really good movie. I was impressed, and Will Arnett acts the heck out of it. Like he does a very good
Nice.
job. And you're like, this is a dude who's only known for comedy performances for the most part. He always plays like sort of some sort of.
Are you telling me he's playing a character who is not funny, but is funny because of he's playing someone who's supposed to be funny, but it's a serious role about a guy who needs to be funny?
Yeah, exactly. So
Exactly.
he had to go dramatic. I know it's almost cliche the funny comedians taking on these dramatic roles, but
I think I think a lot of comedians are make for good actors because they just understand like more about what makes,
mhm.
for, good pacing of a scene, right?
Yeah,
Because comedy's all about timing.
for sure. And it's also about exploring a lot of kind of the darker side of humanity and putting a lighter spin on it, and that's
Yeah.
usually what the funniest bits of comedy are, is like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, wow, we all are kind of messed up and weird. Isn't that funny? So I highly
Yup.
recommend this movie. Super good. And yeah, have you watched any good shows, Matt?
Nope.
Books?
Nope.
Nope, you just been Crimson
Just
Deserting it.
boring Crimson Desert injected into my vein. I've been playing Deadlock. I'm now an Oracle. I'm an Oracle
I
level.
don't know what that
How am I an
means,
Oracle?
but it sounds like you.
Yeah. I've been getting, I don't know. I've just been vibing. I've been really enjoying
Who's your
Deadlock.
Deadlock character?
Lately I've been trying out some new ones. I've been trying out Mirage. I really like Viscous, Doorman. Dude, Doorman, I feel like I'm in a higher bracket now, and it's why I'm like, damn, I'm actually getting to a point where people are actually really good. So a Doorman, we were taking the boss in the center, the mid boss, and the rejuvenation thing was coming down. Doorman swoops in the enemy one, grapples us all in with an item. He then shunks us with his 3 ability, or the, I can't remember, the carriage, which then sends us, we basically are stunned and it sends us down in a direction. He opened up a door behind all of my entire team, which was only 3 or 4 of us, and he sent us to one of the to their walker. He then hits hits the rejuvenation 3 times. They get the entire benefit of it, and we lose the match because of it. I was like, this is insane. These players are absolutely cracked out of their mind. So yeah, the skill level has definitely ramped up a bit recently, but it's been fun to like learn, from other players.
It's dope that they can make a game like that where somebody can have such a clutch play that
Yep.
changes the course of a match. And I mean,
Yep.
that truly is what makes for a great esports game, right? When you're just like,
Oh yeah.
oh, they're down. There's no way they're coming back from this. And then some crazy thing happens and you're just like, everybody's losing their minds, you know?
Yeah, because we probably would have won if we got that rejuvenation, and we didn't. And they played it. They played it really well. I was like upset because I was like, damn, we're gonna lose now. But I was also like, dude, I can't even be mad. That was just an unbelievably sick play that he just pulled off. Right?
Yeah.
That is not easy to do.
Yeah. That's cool, man. It's
Yep.
is that game actually gonna like go out of beta at some point?
At some point, I think they're still pretty far off because
Okay.
we're still the mid boss is just, I think, it's just a placeholder. The mobs around the map are placeholders. I'm assuming those are all going to be changing up. There's still a lot of assets and places around that they're adjusting. They still do huge patches like we saw a couple of weeks ago where they're just like, this is more content changes than Valorant has seen in literally 5 years, right? In one patch, right? So they're trying to throw things at the not at the wall, but at the same time,
it sounds like they're going rapidly and not worrying too much about if they throw certain things out of balance or whatever. They're like,
right, yep, and
we're
then
building
they're doing a great job. I'm very happy with how they've been handling things, and so I don't think it's going to be coming out necessarily right away, but it's getting there. It's definitely good. It's getting there.
Cool, man. It's man, only Valve can develop a game like this. Like,
yeah,
it's just like, here's our game. It's not done. We'll probably be working on it for another 3-4 years. You know, enjoy.
Right now, there's 73,000 people playing, which is nuts.
Yeah, for a game that's clearly like got placeholders in it.
And normally we would have like a big uptick when there was a big patch, and then it was tapering. It would get down to like 20,000, and that's, which is fine. But I think these most recent updates, and they've gotten far enough along in development where they're really starting to find their stride, and they're really starting to find like that magic that's keeping people engaged long term. Because I'm like, yeah, I just want to go in and play a Deadlock round. I want to just get in there and experience more Deadlock.
Yeah. Do we even know if it's going to be free to play or like a paid game? Or
I would assume it would be free to play.
Interesting.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go free to play though. And who knows what the monetization is going to be like for customization options.
Hats, baby. I mean, Valve invented
those hats.
I feel like Valve invented microtransactions almost.
They almost kind of did. Yeah. They were the one that, it's funny because like a lot of people like praise Valve for being, but they have done some of the like the worst things. Loot boxes.
I mean, people were super pissed off when Steam came out. I was one of them. I was mad because we all saw that it was changing game ownership. Right? We're all like, screw this. I want a CD with a CD key that lasts forever. And they're like, nah, digital ownership.
You don't need that.
So, yeah, there's been a lot of resistance and crazy stuff over the years. Yeah, I mean, I'll be a parrot, but I'm always amazed by just the unending, like, free pass that Valve and Gabe are given all the time. Like,
Yeah.
they're the best company. See, they did these things. And you're like, okay. Just ignore the monopoly.
Just ignoring some of the larger issues that they've created themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like Valve. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
By being
really
a great
like
company. They're a monopoly because they're a great company, but also because they were first to do digital game distribution. It's sort of like Facebook, right? I think by and large, we would agree that Facebook is the worst.
Let's not compare them to Facebook necessarily, but
fair enough. The one comparison I want to make, because Facebook is trash compared to Valve, but Facebook was the first to make a big social media platform. Like, okay, fine, not technically, there was Friendster and MySpace and whatever, but they're the first one to like blow it out of the water, right?
Yeah.
And now it's by far my least favorite social media platform. And I don't even like social media platforms for the most part. You know, they're mostly just there to suck away all your attention for as much as possible. But out of all of them, I'm like, Facebook is the worst. But they're still massive. They still make
huge.
So much money. It's just because they're first. You know, they did it first. Not because they did it better, but because they did it first, you know.
Yep.
And that counts for a lot. So I think people need to factor that in a little bit too, to the success of certain platforms. So like, it's because they did it better. It's like, oh, they did it better. Also, they did it first. Like, that's why nobody's going to break into the digital distribution market. Because first is too powerful. You know, I did want to mention, it's still on the like show TV side of things, but the reboot of Scrubs. I don't know if you heard about that. Have you?
I never got into Scrubs in the first place, so I've never really been in tune with it.
I loved Scrubs back in the day. I think like comedically, it's just was my jam. Like I thought it was on fire and sort of doing, it was like, I think it was before Family Guy where they started doing a lot of that like cutaway sketch comedy where they'd be like, I'm going to they'd be thinking about something and then they cut away to a whole sketch of that style of comedy. And it was very fast paced and very well written. And are you finding out who did it first?
Family Guy was in 1999. So it's been around for a long time.
Wow. When did Scrubs drop?
2001.
Okay. So close, but yeah, they basically were doing a live action version of that type of cutaway comedy, which maybe they're not the first, but it was the first time I had seen it. And I just found it really impressive, really well made, and like went on forever. It's such a good comedy show. And so they rebooted it with pretty much the original cast, which
everyone's just a lot older.
They are a lot older. And at first it's a little jarring because you're like, they're all just super old now, but trying to be the exact same people. And then like half an episode into it, I'm like, we're back, baby. We're back.
We're back, baby. That's it. That's good. That's great.
Somehow they retained all the writing charm and quality and the character style. And they have new characters, of course, because you have to.
Of course.
And they balance all that comedy and charm with serious undertones of hospital and medical drama, right? So it's like, I don't know. I've been very impressed with the reboot because I almost saw it and I was like, no, don't destroy like the legacy of Scrubs. You're going to kill it.
Because I remember they came out with like a final season that people were like, no, don't do that. And then it came out and it wasn't very good. And so people are like, I just ignore that final season.
Yeah. I think they banked a little too much in the heartstring stuff and it got a little overblown. You're kind of like, they're milking it a little too hard.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It wasn't so much that I didn't like the last season, but you're just like, yeah, it's not their best work. But coming back, I'm just really impressed with it. I don't think any of the actors on the show actually did a whole lot of work outside of Scrubs. I mean, like,
they probably made a lot of money off of the original.
Oh yeah. Super successful. But anyway, I highly recommend it. If you like the original show, the reboot is amazing. And if you didn't watch the original show, you don't need to. It's not like you need some sort of backstory for any of it.
Yeah, it might help to know more of the characters, but yeah,
you'll get a couple of the inside jokes, I suppose. But like, it's not like it's written for like, well, you better have watched the first 7 seasons, or this isn't going to make any sense, you know. it's a medical drama with comedy, but solid show. Yeah, just happy with it, man. I'm happy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Any game releases or anything you're looking forward to?
Not really.
You're not looking forward to that Call of Duty update? Woo!
There's a Call of Duty update? No.
I don't know. Black Ops 7 is getting something. I don't know. Whatever.
Okay. Yeah, there was an update that they're going to have like 8 maps or something like that for the entire season. I'm like, and then Battlefield's over here like you get 2 and you're going to like it.
Do they really get 8 maps? Oh, man.
Oh, I think it was like, yeah, it's kind of nuts. Let me
just Google it. Rub it in Battlefield's face.
Black Ops 7 season maps. So season 3 is coming with Gridlock, Beacon, Plaza, Summit, Hacienda, Abyss, Onsen, Ascent, Mission
God.
Trident. That's all season 3.
Dear God. Oh my. Yeah. So like this, the thing is like, that's a solid amount of content, but also when you say it, I'm like, that sounds like what a big production studio should be able to produce, right?
Yeah.
If you got like a bunch of people working on a game, you're making a lot of money with that game, you can produce that much. And then Battlefield's
these
like,
are
map.
rework, or these are these are remasters.
Okay.
So it's not all new content, but like that's what people have been asking for Battlefield. It's like,
bro,
hey,
who cares?
We get it. It's tough. You know, give us 2 new maps and a remake, right? Like even that would be insane. Where it's like, oh, what remake did we get this season, right? Oh, we got Strike at Karkat. Oh, we got Caspian Border. Oh, we got something, you know?
Yeah. Also, I have 0 problems with map remakes. I've never like been upset about getting a remake if it's a good map, you know?
If it's well done.
Yeah. If they remake a crappy map, then I'm like, why'd you put your effort into this? Nobody liked it in the first place. But like, I mean, if they remade any of the classic maps that we're all excited, I don't even like Gold Mud Railway, but I'm excited that we're getting Gold Mud Railway.
Yeah.
I don't know how that map made it into the zeitgeist of Battlefield. Like I
think it's just because it's a vehicle. It's vehicle centric, and it's just the most obvious. Like it's pretty much an open field with tanks, which can be fun.
And a couple of little huts for infantry to feel like they have some cover or something. Like, here, you...
Yeah, curious to see how it will work, because like the tanks in Battlefield 4 aren't insanely fast, but they're way faster than Battlefield 6's tanks. Like, it's going to take a while to get from the spawn out into the actual action there. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Okay. I didn't really pay much attention to the base speed of vehicles, but...
The tanks in Battlefield 6, maybe I'm wrong. I could be very wrong. I don't play the tanks very often either. But they just feel slower and clunkier to me. But
the maps, there's not enough maps for you to really let loose on with them either.
No.
So you're like, they have the one big map, which the name is escaping me now, where you can actually drive fast and like cover some ground, and then everything else is like kind of claustrophobic. But I know the juxtaposition of Call of Duty content versus Battlefield content. It's always been very lopsided, but maybe in the era of BF4, BF3, they're like, we're holding our own. And then all of a sudden they just went back to not being able to hold their own.
Thankfully, the 2 maps that came out were of good quality. That's at least a relief that they weren't. It wasn't another oil field situation, right?
Yeah. Well, and Call of Duty isn't charging for their seasonal stuff. You can buy the battle passes, right? But otherwise you get the maps for free.
I think so. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's always that argument.
They are a lot smaller. They're like, to be like, oh, we should be getting as many. It's like, well, they're significantly smaller. They don't take nearly as much dev time, right?
That's true.
Nowhere close. But even still, like it's like you can't, you can't compare the two. Yeah, it's not nothing.
Such as Battlefield, but the player count in Battlefield, I think, is still healthier than most Battlefield games have been this far after launch. So, that's a good sign, to be honest. And to a certain degree, it's the most successful Battlefield game in terms of player retention, I think.
Yes, I think you are right.
Yeah. So it's interesting because, yeah, we do spend a lot of time hemming and hawing about it, but we're like, man, the numbers are indicating that it's doing well.
It could be doing better though. It could be. It could be.
Yeah.
Balls in their court. They gotta not drop it.
Get some of those Arc Raider numbers and then call me Dice. All right.
I don't think they're ever going to get that anymore.
No. But I mean, the Arc Raiders, Embark is built of Battlefield talent. The people that were like, I'm out of here. Let's go make some games where we're not being governed by EA or whatever. And they knocked it out of the park, man.
I wonder what their studios are working on right now, because I know that they've got more games in the pipeline.
I think they have
and it's
4
like, are they
games.
making a Battlefield competitor? Are they doing something different? Like, we'll see.
That'd be badass if they took it to Battlefield and they're just like, all right,
some
you guys have
competition
been doing nothing with this franchise for decades. Like, here's the new Battlefield.
Because they have an engine that literally has destruction. Like, if they wanted to do it like a destructive Battlefield style. You know, they could.
I don't know if they could do it at that scale. Remember?
Oh, no, they wouldn't be able to do it at that scale.
The finals had to they're like, it's 12 players for a reason. Like, we can't send this much server code to 64 players or whatever. And then we got War Dogs coming out soon to also take the more milsim approach to it. But God,
I hope that game is good. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's a lot. Man, the milsim space is insanely active. It's surprising, to be honest.
Yeah.
Compared to what it was like 5, 6, 7 years ago, where all the milsim games were like these kind of janky indie titles where people are just like, I'm so glad there's something that looks like real war. And then you play it and you're like, all right. And now they're like coming out with these mega hits and these mega titles. And you're like, whoa, okay. The money has shifted into milsim. Somehow. Yep. Well, I think that's a good spot to wrap up the old podcast there.
Sounds good.
Thank you guys for dropping by the Level With Me podcast. We appreciate y'all. The podcast goes live every Wednesday. And for Patreon members who want to come by and watch us meander through the subjects live every Monday, you can check out our Patreon links in the video description. It is a good way to support the podcast and come hang out with us live and then chat after the podcast because we have a little post-podcast hangout. But regardless of whether or not you are a Patreon member, Matt is going to leave you with some super helpful advice.
So this super helpful advice is actually 3 pieces of advice.
Oh, man.
And it revolves around Crimson Desert. All right, first one, the Abyss artifacts that you do puzzles for that allows you to come up and you get like you get the artifact. That is a actual fast travel location. The little fast travel spots that you find around, those are great, but you can also fast travel to those too. So it saves you time and money. The other piece of advice is if you come across a waterfall that has a cairn rock structure on the outside, stab the waterfall. I'm not even kidding. Stab the waterfall. You can go into the other side and there's treasure on the other side. I don't know why you have to stab it. If you try to run through it, it will just knock you down and you'll look like a dum-dum. You have to stab it. It's very silly. What was the third piece of what was the third piece of advice? My brain is too stupid. I can't think of the third piece of advice. The third piece of advice is to respect yourself and love yourself and remember that you are enough.
Thanks, Matt. I'm fascinated by the sword waterfall thing, but this seems to add up with the rest of Crimson Desert's kind of janky puzzle solving.
Yeah. Oh, I remember what it was. If you hover over an icon on the map and it has a white circle, that means you've completed everything in that area. If it doesn't have a white circle and there's a gray circle in the center of it, of the ring, means that there is still something there for you to do, or vice versa. I'm pretty sure that's it though.
Yeah.
Good luck out there.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Plenty of stuff to think. I want to talk about UI stuff with you now, post-podcast. Well, we'll save it for the post-podcast thing.
That sounds good.
Get your take on UI design. Thank you guys all for dropping by. We appreciate you very much. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Take care.